stream. We are live. Make sure you do subscribe if you haven't already. I'm just going to get the chat up, but make sure you do subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like on the stream. And of course, this is going to be your next day thoughts where we go through everything that happened in our last game, which was the 1-1 draw with Aston Villa. Happy with the result, happy with the point, but it is that thing about we were so close to getting the win. We conceded very late on again, but this time it's not on Daniel Farke. I mean, the amount of people I've seen criticize Daniel Farke from this performance. Firstly, we were very good. Secondly, he made the subs right, because I don't know what else you want him to do with the substitutes, by the way. I actually don't know what people want him to do with the subs. Who the hell do people want him to bring on? Tanaka and Nonto? Like, I don't understand. People say Dan James. Would Dan James have made a difference when we were defending the entire time? Because the rest of the team were the pressing wasn't the problem, because Metcha was pressing. He actually won the ball like 2 or 3 times, up the other end, and where we could have, just a bit better, a bit more luck on that tackle. We're in, Gruev was pressing. Aronson came off before that, didn't he? But yeah, Gruev was pressing up, up front at some times. But the pressing wasn't the issue. The pressing wasn't the issue at that stage. It was just a lack. It was just us switching off again. And we've talked about this, but that's not on Daniel Farke. Daniel Farke can't say, hey, head of the ball away. I think it was a bit of quality mixed in with a bit of switching off. I think it's a kind of a mix, because the corner is very good. The flick, but the header back into the middle is good. A bit of luck with the, Abraham off his knee. A bit of luck. And then it goes into the top corner just like an inch above DCL's head. So it's just a bit of luck with, a bit of, something that you get when you're a big top club at the moment, when you're third in the Premier League, when you've got a good squad and you've got £50 million players on your bench. That's just what you get. And they got the equaliser, but none of that for me is on Farke. I can't have a go at Farke for conceding that late goal. Because Daniel Farke, the reason why I'm speaking about this is because Daniel Farke's first thing he talked about in his presser, after the game, of course. So he talked about the goal, basically. He said, we have also scored several late goals, which is true. Overall feeling is a disappointment, which you are after conceding late. Every time you concede late, you're going to be disappointed. Goal was avoidable in the second phase of the corner, which is when it got headed back into the middle. You feel in the first moment disappointed, but my Warriors deserve all the praise today. Valuable, deserve point. And yeah, it's a deserved point. It probably should have been all 3 in a way. You're 1-0 up. You're playing well. Defensively, I thought we were very good. And then you have that little moment from the corner. They had a couple of chances, in the first half, where they had a chance and right near the end, and we were good at stopping them. Like, there was chances during the game for Aston Villa, but we were able to stop them. And it's just that one moment where we switched off, plus, of course, with a bit of class from Aston Villa, and they get the goal, they get the equaliser, and it's 1-1. But yeah, you're going to feel disappointed. But for me, I'm happy with the point, as I said, and I'm not going to blame Daniel Farke when, in my opinion, you got his subs right. Bringing on Longstaff was the right decision. Bringing on Longstaff was a bright decision. Bringing on Metcha almost worked within 20 seconds when he had a header that was just saved, so that sub worked. And I thought Metcha, actually, when he came on, his pressing was very good. He was pressing well from the front. Who else came on? Longstaff came on, Metcha came on, and that was it. Oh, BL came on at half-time, exactly, and that's another good sub. BL came on for Goodmanson at half-time when Goodmanson was poor. Now, it has come out that he was ill, which we'll get into just a bit after this, but BL came on for Goodmanson. He made the right decision about making the sub early. Later on, he brought on Metcha, which almost worked within 2 minutes when he almost scored. Bring on Longstaff for Stack was the right decision. Stack just coming back from an injury as well. I thought Stack was going to come off for Metcha, to be honest, because I'm like, he's just come back from an injury. I don't know how long he can play. You don't want to risk him for a long time. But yeah, Metcha comes on for Aronson. Probably right sub. As I said, I probably would have brought off Stack, just because I think Aronson's pressing game is very good. And the way he tracks back, and Stack also just coming back from an injury, I thought it might have been the right decision to do that instead. But Metcha comes on, almost scores. Good header, good save. Maybe you should get it a bit lower, but I'm not going to criticize Metcha, who has scored, was it 3 goals in his last 4 games or whatever. So he's been on good form. I'm not going to hammer him for missing 1 chance. What was it before this game? I think he scored 3 of his last 4 shots before this one. So I'm not going to have a go at him, because I thought, he's just come off the bench. He's had a chance. It's a good save mixed with a header that he maybe could have went further into the corner, but then he misses the target. It looks even worse. As I said, Longstaff comes on for Stack. The right decision, midfielder for a midfielder. Longstaff coming back from his injury and starting to get some minutes, which is good. It's nice to see. And yeah, I thought he made the right subs, and I thought we are playing well defensively. So I didn't really want us to make many substitutions, whether that was defensively or in the midfield, because I thought Gruev defensively, you know what you're going to get defensively from Gruev, very solid defensive midfielder. Ampadu, of course, isn't going to come off your captain and all that. But I thought you're not really going to make any subs in your midfield or your defense, because I think we were solid defensively and we didn't really need to make many more subs. Longstaff coming on was, in my opinion, was because Stack has just come back from an injury. Like that's another reason. I think Stack would have played probably the full 90 if he didn't have this injury. But yeah, I'm not going to hammer Fark for this. I'm not going to blame him because I think he made the right subs. But I've seen people say Dan James should have been coming on, and they say that after the game. But that's all hindsight. That's all saying, or now that the game's finished and we didn't get the 3 points, you should have brought Dan James on. Again, you watch what happened between the minutes of when you would have brought Dan James on. I don't know what he would have changed. Genuinely do not know what he would have changed. It would have changed nothing. And that's nothing on Dan James, just as where we were in the game, the scoreline, how we were playing at the time, how much chances they started getting Aston Villa. You're not going to bring on Dan James at that stage, in my opinion. It wasn't the game for him in that moment. Now, if it was 1-1 at that stage, then maybe, yes, you bring on Dan James and try and look for a winner. But at that stage, it was 1-0 and we're looking good. Yeah, Fark then said Goodmanson was ill. He may not start after a few difficult days, but got to halftime and couldn't go any further. BL's minutes were being managed after a recent return from injury. So BL's minutes are being managed. And this goes to all the people that were crying before kickoff about him not starting. By the way, when he came on for the second half, he wasn't that great either. I don't think he was great when he came on, but he's getting his minutes managed because he's just coming back from an injury. You don't want to risk players and just, start them straight away when they come back from injury, because that's what can happen. They get injured again, and then that's on Fark. So Fark's in a lose-lose situation. He doesn't start BL. People cry about it. He starts him and BL gets injured. People go, why'd you start him? So it's legit. He's in a lose-lose situation with their fan base, I feel like, sometimes. Influenced his decision to bench him today. So yeah, the reason why BL was benched is because they're managing his minutes. I think there's a couple of things. There's the BL's minutes need to be managed, and also the fact that James Justin has been brilliant for us in these recent, like the last month or two. He's been brilliant. So it was really hard to take him out the team, really, and I think he's been fine. Yeah, so yeah. And yeah, that's basically what Daniel Farke had to say about the press conference. So we're hoping that hopefully that means that Goodmanson will be fine for the next game and he'll be back to his best. Hopefully that means that he'll be back to his best. But that's what we can hope. We can hope he's back to his best. It's one of those things about playing with an illness. Sometimes players would say, "Oh yeah, I can just play. I'll be good. I'll be fine." And then his performance wasn't great, so then you bring him off. I do understand that. Now we're going to get into some stats. If I can go all the way down to the bottom, we'll get through some players' performances. I think that's the first thing we have to talk about is a player's performance that we do need to talk about. Let's just continue. Wait, give me a moment. Let me just get it up. Here we go. Anton Stack. The first thing, Anton Stack's performance. 83 minutes played. He had 35 touches, 116 meters ball carrying distance. 10 what am I up to? 10 ball recoveries. Everything just disappeared for a second. 10 ball recoveries, 10 ball carries, 6 ball recoveries, 3 passes into the final third, 3 shots, 2 chances created, 2 block shots, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances, 1 block, 1 direct free kick, which was the goal. And I thought, he was brilliant. Still 6 points. Just never got the feeling we could see out the game at 1-0. But still, before the game, I did see us. Most people, if you look at most people said these 3 games, the Chelsea, Villa, City game, people are saying 0 points. We've got 2. So we've got more than what a lot of people will say we're going to get. And yeah, our problem is closing out games, but that's not a manager issue for me. That's the quality that we got on our bench isn't to the level of every other team in the league. It isn't to the level. We don't have those bench players that have we don't have 50 million pound players on our bench like other teams do. We don't have that, because when you look at that, they got players who are worth double of what Stack is worth on the bench. That's mad. But yeah, you need to have a better, I think that's what we're going to be building next season, to be honest. That, you buy some players that are going to be I mean, people would call them starters, but they're going to be competition for the players that are already here. You bring in the competition, you sell some of the players like your Nontos, I think will go. I just have a feeling he'll go. Tanaka might go as well. You make the bench better, you make the squad better, you have more competition for those starting places, and then all of a sudden your squad looks better. You got players on the bench who you could argue in some games should be starting because they're good enough to start games, and then you bench is stronger and stronger, which is hopefully what we're going to be going forward in the next couple of seasons, is building our bench basically and making the starters that are starters right now being bench players, or them being able to keep their place and keeping the new signings that could be 20 million, 30 million pound worth of players, keeping them on the bench because of how well they're performing, which is hopefully what we can do for the next couple of seasons. And that's how you build a team that can go up. And, Daniel Farke, since we've changed to the 3-back, I've spoken about this, we're on the form of a European team chasing Europe. So next season, like, we could go anywhere. We could be where we are right now, or we could be going for Europe in the top 10. Like, in a season where next season we could be fighting for Europe, fighting to get in there, finishing mid-table, top 10, just based off what I've seen since December. Which is why when people say we need a new manager for the next level, I don't understand that, because in my opinion, since we've actually changed the formation, changed the way we played, and we've gotten into this new system and all that, we look like a way better team fully. We are in the form of a team chasing Europe, which is great. If we can continue that into next season as well and continue playing the 3-back, and I don't think Farke will change for next season, I think we'll keep the 3-back. We'll keep the 3-5-2 or the 3-4-3. He can adapt in different formations. He can play a 3-5-2. He can play a 3-4-3. We can change the formations, which is good. Like, it's actually exciting going on the next couple of seasons, even just next season, on what we could actually be and where we could actually get to. I still feel we are having a super season. Same. And I'm enjoying the run, and I think 2 more wins is all that's needed. I think 3. I think 3 more wins, but I feel like the home games against Wolves, I know Wolves have picked up some form, and they're a team, you can't look at Wolves as an easy win now, right? You can't look at them as an easy win, but I do think we beat them. I think we beat Burnley. And then there's 1 more win, which surely we get 1 more win out of the other games. Like the other, 9 games, there'll be a win in there. I think we're not safe, of course, but I think we will be safe. I think we're going to be safe before the final game. I don't think it's going to come down to that West Ham game, but if it does, it's going to be a bit nerve-wracking. Hopefully it doesn't. Yeah, but, we're still 6 points clear. Nothing really changes at the bottom. West Ham got a point. We got a point. We had the tougher opposition in Aston Villa. They had Bournemouth. So that's good, and that's a good thing as well, that they had a tougher game than we had a tougher game than them, and we kept the points the same, which is good. Of course, Spurs play later today. To be honest, I do kind of want Spurs to at least get a point. I want Arsenal to bottle this league. I like Arsenal. I just hate their fans. I think their fans don't deserve it, but actually, I like Arsenal as a club. I just don't think their fans deserve it, so I wouldn't mind Spurs getting a point. A nice 0-0 draw. Ethan Ampadu versus Aston Villa, so here's another player's performance that was really good. 90 minutes played, of course, 50 touches, 22 out of 27 successful passes, 161.8 meters ball carrying distance, 14 ball carries, 12 defensive contributions. He had 11 Ks distance covered, 9 ball recoveries, 8 duels, 5 clearances, 2 interceptions, 1 chance created. Very good performance from Ethan Ampadu. I thought he had a very good performance. Ethan Ampadu covered the largest distance covered by any player involved at Villa Park today. The Leeds skipper has now covered the largest distance by any Premier League for the club in 5 of the last 6 Premier League games. So out of 5 out of the last 6 Premier League games, Ethan Ampadu has covered more ground than any other player in the Premier League. That's another thing you got to look at, which you don't really notice Ampadu running around the pitch, but that's something that you got to, you don't really notice him being everywhere. You know what I mean? Another player's performances that I thought was good as well was James Justin. Thought he had a solid performance. 90 minutes played, 43 touches, 16 out of 21 successful passes, 11k distance covered. He had 7 duels won, 7 ball recoveries. 7 ball carries, 6 ground duels won, 3 out of 4 tackles won, 3 interceptions, 2 ball recoveries, 2 out of 2 accurate long passes, 2 times he was fouled, and 2 clearances. A very good performance again from James Justin, who just... Yeah, I mean, firstly for me, I'm not worried about the Man City game. I'm kind of just, I don't expect us to get anything from it. So if we get something, it's a bonus. I don't really expect anything, especially with Arsenal and the way they're bottling the league. It kind of feels like City are going to be hungry and they're probably going to beat us, But I think we can give them a game. I think it'll be a close game again. It might be another 3-2 entertaining back and forth game. I do think it'll be a close game. I don't think we're going to get battered by Man City, but Hey, it's just one of those games where if we do get battered like 4-0, I'm just gonna like, yep, move on to the next game. It's Manchester City. I'm fine with that. Anton Stuck becomes the first Leeds player to score 3 direct free kicks in a single season since Ross McCormack in the 2013-14 season, which was 3 as well. He scored 3 direct free kicks in a Premier League season for the first time since Ian Hart in 2000-2001, which was 4. So he's one off like tying with Ian Hart. He scored 3 direct right-footed free kicks in the Premier League since Gary McAllister, which was 4 as well. So, yeah, Anton Stuck's scoring a bunch of free kicks, which is very nice. You know, we're not really used to that. We haven't had a good free kick taker in ages. You know, it's great to see that we've got a great free kick taker. And, yeah, Stuck is an absolute baller. But, like, because I say this, like, it's not harsh on Aronson because I love Aronson. But you could tell there's, like, Stuck is that next level. And having him playing with Aronson can improve Aronson as well. I feel like it's one of those things about better when you play with better players around you, you could elevate your level to be a better player. And having Stuck next to Aronson, I think, helps Aronson out more than having like nothing on Okafor, because I think Okafor's a very, very good player. But I think having Stuck and the way Stuck plays and with Aronson, I think those two work well together. And when Okafor does come back from injury, he doesn't get in the starting 11 for me, because I think Stuck and Aronson work so well together as like the 2 number 10s basically. And then you got Mecha. So like even I'm looking at like, oh, if DCL and Mecha play up front together, you're gonna have to drop one of Stuck or Aronson. And I feel like he'll probably, if he had to drop one, he'll probably drop Stuck, unless he plays Stuck back where Gruev is and takes Gruev out, who I think's been good as well. But it's good to have options of players who have been performing well to be on the bench. Because I feel like Aronson is just that player that Fark wants to keep because of how much running he does on like every single game. And he's like, you know, you're guaranteed it. There's some players where like some games they'll cover a lot of ground, but others they won't. Aronson will just do it every single game, and he's, you know, you can trust him with that. So it's one of the it's just one of those things. It's legit just one of those things about we play a different formation. You might have someone on the bench that you could say should start a game. You know, that's good to have. We need to improve our squad and our depth as well. Will Stuck make the German team for the World Cup? I mean, he should. He should be at least on the bench, surely. Like, I think he's been playing for the German team, I'm pretty sure. Like, recently he's actually been playing for them. But he should at least make the bench. I mean, with these performances, and if he can have a very good end to the season, you know, going into the World Cup, could be a starter. You know, very good free kick taker as well. There's some very good midfielders. That, you know, Germany have. So it is a difficult team to get into, but I think he'll be in the squad, I think. Pretty sure he'll be in the squad. Anton Stuck just feels like one of those players. I mean, we got him for what? So cheap. Like, what, 17 million, 80 million, whatever it was? I mean, I know I hate talking about this, but every time you talk about football now, you have to talk about how much money you get back for them. And you could be looking at Anton Stuck being worth 80 plus million. Like, we could be honestly looking at a player who we're going to get a lot of money for in the future. Or he stays and he's brilliant and we go into the Champions League into Europe with him. The Champions League, let's lower a bit. But he's a player that you look at as a player who in the future could be worth 70, 80 plus million. So you look at that and you go, very good investment by the club on a player who can reach, you know, because you look at the quality, like, as I said, you look at the quality when Anton Stuck plays compared to Aronson, compared to what, even like an Okafor, I'm sorry, but he's at like another level. It just feels like one of those things that he's that next level. Like, he's one of those players, like, he's not on the same level, but he might be soon. But Rafinha, you like, when you watch him, you're like, yeah, he's on another level. He should not be at Leeds United at this current stage. Like, he's above this level, which is great to have. Okay. Okay. Leeds have now lost just 2 of our last 16 matches across all competitions, and this is another reason why I don't get people saying we need a new manager for the next level and this bullshit. Legit. 2 losses in the last 16 matches. Like, that's incredible. That's actually incredible, that we've only lost 2 games in the last 16. A really impressive run of results for a newly promoted Premier League side, and even more to given the calibre of opponents we've faced. And you look at the teams we've faced, like, you know, Villa 3rd in the league. You know, you call it drop points, but, you know, no one expected us to go to point in this game. We expected us to be competitive because that's what we are, but Yeah, Leeds have now conceded 12 goals from the 81st minute onwards in games this season, more than any other Premier League side in the 25-26 season. Leeds have dropped 10 points from winning positions away from home in the Premier League this season. Only Bournemouth have dropped more. So you look at that, and for me, when you look at that and you say we've dropped a lot of points, oh fuck. But as I said before, it's because our squad doesn't have the quality on the bench that these other teams do. You give Fark that quality next season, that bit more quality, and you'll see some of these results where this season we've turned wins into draws or draws into losses, and they will change into, wins will keep, more of those wins will stay wins. More of those draws will stay draws, and we won't lose games in the last minute like Newcastle, which, is what we're going to have to do when we build a team. I think Rafinha was 80 million, I think, before Leeds sold him to Barcelona. I mean, I think we got ripped off with that. I think we still got ripped off at that time with Calvin Phillips and Rafinha. I think they were worth way more. I think they were worth way more than what they actually went for. I think we kind of got ripped off with both of them, to be honest. At that time, I think that's all the stats we have. Leeds United have suffered just one defeat in our last 9 away matches, and that was down to 2 injury time goals at Newcastle. So Aston Villa draw, Birmingham City the win on pens, Chelsea draw, Everton draw, Derby County win, Newcastle the loss, of course, a Liverpool draw, Sunderland draw, Brentford draw. Like that's good, really good for a newly promoted team. Anton Stack scores Leeds' first direct free kick goal at Villa Park since Hasselbank in a 2-1 Premier League win in February of 1999. What's this say? Anything else? And yeah, that's basically everything about the stats. And you just look at that and you look at the improvement that we've had throughout the season. Did he? What, are they playing? Oh, they are playing right now. Did he actually? Are they because he was injured, so did he come back from injury? Ah, go on, Pat. So happy for him. I was gonna check something as well. So yeah, good performance all around. I thought, it's one of those things. You're versing a very good team in Aston Villa. Oh god, you're versing a very good team in Aston Villa. It's what you expect against a team like that. Who, they're a team who are gonna try and get into Europe this season. I mean, they're gonna get Europe, but like Champions League, it might be tricky for them to get in the Champions League at the end of the season. I don't know why my camera's so a bit. Let's try that. But yeah, they're going to be trying to get into the Champions League. It's going to be difficult for them to actually get into the Champions League, I feel like, because it's starting to kind of slip a little bit. It's getting tight when they kind of had a gap not that long ago, and it kind of feels like they're just slipping into that spot where they could drop into the Europa League, which is still a good season. I mean, they probably won't see it that way. They probably want to get back in the Champions League. But yeah, it just feels like one of those things. I mean, I am smiling the fact that I got proved right when, a lot of people said, anyway, we won't talk about how I said that we should have sold Pirro and kept Bamford, but because I think that would have been a better strike. Having those, DCL, Bamford, Metcher would have been way better. At least Bamford would have fucking contributed. Because he can actually do the hold-up play and he can actually press, but of course we didn't do that. We didn't do the smart thing and sell Pirro for the most money we could get from him, and now his price is going to just go like that. So, that's great. That's great. I just feel like we're going to get Pirro's going to go for 8 million, 10 million, and we're going to lose money on him. Where I feel like we could have evened or even just lost 1 or 2 million from him if we sold him before the season started this season. If we sold him when we got promoted, I think we could have made at least the same amount of money, maybe a bit more, on one of the teams that got relegated, because one of them would have came in for him. 100% one of them would have taken him. I think so, because it's Norwich at home. I have this weird feeling about that cup game against Norwich. I'm just hoping we don't lose, because I don't know why. I just feel something stupid's going to happen. I feel like something's going to happen in that game. We're going to underestimate them. We're going to go, we're going to play the same team we did against Birmingham, and I feel like it didn't work against Birmingham. I want us to go a bit more strong, which is why during the watch-long, I talked about it during the watch-long, if we beat Villa and you start building this gap even bigger from us to the bottom 3, you start going, oh, we can focus on the cup now. We can play our stronger team in the cup. We can play our strongest team in the cup because it looks like we're safe, so we can go more full strength in the cup. I think we'll go more full strength against Norwich than what we did against Birmingham. I think you'll see a couple of more starters in there, maybe like a Gruev starting in there. You might have like a, like a Gruev starting in there, and I'm looking maybe like an Aronson, because I think Aronson the guy never gets injured. He can just play game after game after game. But yeah, very good from Leeds United. Very good point against a very good Aston Villa team who are third in the league right now. Of course, that keeps us 6 points off the bottom three, as of course West Ham drew, and what was the other? Did anything else happen? So yeah, West Ham drew, of course. So the bottom of the table looking like this. We've got West Ham on 25 points. Spurs and Nottingham Forest both have a game to play, of course, on 29 and 27. So if Forest lose to Liverpool, which hopefully Liverpool turn up against them, because sometimes Liverpool turn up and sometimes they don't. Spurs are playing Arsenal. You're probably expecting Arsenal win, even though I think it would be funny if they drew, because I wouldn't want them to lose. But if Spurs draw, we're still above them. So I'll take a draw. You're looking above us. Even like you look above Crystal Palace. They're 1 point above us right now. They got Wolves, so they'll probably make that 4. And then you got Fulham 3 points above us. Brighton are only 4 points. They're 3 points above us as well. So you got Brighton, who are 3 points above us. Fulham, who have a game to play against Sunderland, 3 points above us. You got Crystal Palace, who are close to us as well. So there's teams that we could go up the league more. Like it's still very close between us and a couple of teams around that mid-table bracket. Only 6 points off Sunderland. Like 5 points off Sunderland. We could catch Sunderland. And yeah, but a very good end to the season, hopefully. Of course, we've got 11 games now to play, and after that Man City game, we'll have 10 left. I remember, before we went on this amazing run, and before this, everyone talked about how if we were out of the bottom 3 by the final 10 games, the confidence is going to be up. We're probably above where we all thought we would be. I think most people would have thought we're 17th. It's still close between us and the relegation zone, but it's still close between the bottom 3 and us, and we were like 17th. And, it was only like 2 points, maybe 3 points, the difference. And people will be like, yeah, I'll be happy if we're just above the bottom 3. And the way we played to be able to be 15th, I'm happy with that. Some of the performances you could argue you can be annoyed at, because we should have got some draws that should have been wins, some draws that should have been wins, some wins that, some losses that should have been draws. Like the Newcastle game should have at least been a draw. Probably should have been a win, but at least a draw. Our last 5 games have been okay. 3 draws, 1 win, 1 loss. You look at the recent form of the teams around us. You got West Ham, who are the only other team. Annoyingly, they're performing while we're performing. That's the annoying thing. They've got 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss in their last 5. You got Forest, who got 1 win, 3 draws, 1 loss. You got Spurs, who have 3 losses and 2 draws, who have been awful. Even like above us, Crystal Palace have 3 losses, a win and a draw. You got Fulham, who have 4 losses and a win. So the teams that are above us as well, their form is not good. Like the teams that are above us, their form is not good. So that's why they're so catchable, because their form at the moment isn't good, and they're not getting the points that you probably think they should in some games. But yeah, should be very confident going into the next couple of games. Of course, City's going to be tough, but I mean the ones after that, of course, after City, we got City first, and then we got Sunderland after Man City, don't we? So yeah, we got. Let me go fixtures. Man City, Sunderland, and then we got the cup against Norwich. So if we out of these next 4 games, when we talked about them and said Chelsea, City, Villa, and Sunderland, a lot of people were saying, 3 points against Sunderland, but I don't think we'll get anything out of the others. We could leave these 4 games with 5 points, which would be massive. Beat Sunderland, we leave it with 4. We leave with 5 points. That's massive. If we can extend the gap between us and the bottom 3 from 6 points to even just 7 or 8, you get into that stage where maybe as I said, we can focus more on the cup. We can be like, we have that gap. We can play a more full-strength team in the cup. Of course, we've got Norwich. And then even after the Norwich game, we've got a team around. We're playing like a team that's around us. We've got Crystal Palace. Then we've got a tough game against Brentford. Then we've got Scum. And then we've got Wolves. So, like, the games after the FA Cup are, like, get some good points in there. Crystal Palace, of course, who we could... At that stage, we might be, like, above them, or we might be still very close in a way of, like, we can just overtake them with a win. And, of course, we smashed them at home. Who says we can't beat them away as well? Even though we've only got 1 win away from home all season, which was, of course, the Wolves game. But yeah, I'm confident going into the next couple of games. I'm confident going into the rest of the season with these 11 games left. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all